starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, the CDC recently changed its guidance on how long you should wait between your first and second COVID shots. WYMT's Dakota Makris talked with an Eastern Kentucky doctor and asked why the CDC made the change.
The CDC now recommends people wait 8 weeks between their first and second doses of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine.
This is mainly for the category of age between the age of 12 to 39.
However, infectious disease specialist Dr. Ferris Cotter says the 8-week period can be for any age. It helps reduce the risk of myocarditis, a type of heart inflammation. It can happen to anyone after vaccination. However, CNN reports men ages 12 to 29 are at the highest risk of myocarditis after getting the first dose. For those concerned about the delay's impact on COVID protection, Dr. Cotter says they can put those worries to rest.
You don't lose any protection from the antibodies. You still have a robust immune response.
Adding these precautions are not meant to inspire fear. He says myocarditis is inflammation of the heart muscle and is often short-lived.
Some patient gets, anti-inflammatory medicine like, Motrin, Aleve, or some patient necessitate sometimes steroids.
As for a booster, the timeline there remains the same for now. Experts recommend you get boosted 5 months after your second dose. In Hazard, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
If you have not already had your COVID-19 shot, Dr. Cotter says it's not too late, and he reminds people not to forget their booster when they can get it. Officials with AFLAC awarded Appalachian Regional Healthcare in Harlan County a $100,000 CARE grant today, part of their Close the Gap initiative. The money will be used to help combat heart disease in the area. ARH leaders say they plan to purchase new equipment with the grant. This includes defibrillators, EKGs, and Dopplers.
The first thing to do is someone having chest pain and you think he has a heart attack. So EKG machines and also echo machines to detect and do an ultrasound of the heart, and all these necessary equipments for any cardiologist to use to help the patients.
The event was held at Dressen Park, where during the ceremony a new AFLAC park bench was also unveiled.
Well, we still do have a few flood warnings around the mountains right now, but we do have some improving conditions as we head through the rest of tonight and into the weekend as well. Still have a few of those flood warnings, though, along the Cumberland River at both Williamsburg and Barberville, the Clinch River not far from Tazewell, Tennessee in Claiborne County, and right now as well into the Kentucky River at Ravenna. But many of those rivers are starting to either crest now or will crest shortly, many in minor or even lower than that flood stage. I-64 at Moorhead, though, still seeing plenty of clouds. We did see a couple of breaks of sun earlier on today, but we remain under cloudy skies this afternoon. Temperatures remain chilly for most into the middle 30s, just about area-wide. A few upper 30s and low 40s as you head down towards East Tennessee. Winds out of the northwest, that's bringing in that colder air. They're not off the charts, but you'll feel it out there as we head through the remainder of today. We did have a few flurries, a few showers earlier on. I can't rule out a few more heading through tonight, but there's no big upstream weather to worry about. We're just going to see clouds as we head into the overnight hours. That's why we want you to keep that WYMT weather app handy, though we will be seeing more skies like that shortly in the forecast. Through tonight, we're going to try to clear things out. We may have a tough time, but either way, we're going to wake up tomorrow morning on the chilly side with temperatures back in the upper 20s. I'll have the very latest on when things look to warm back up coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Today, President Biden held a phone call with Ukraine's President Zelensky for more than 30 minutes as enemy forces move closer to the capital. Ukrainian officials are calling on the U.S. and NATO allies to take tougher actions against Russia. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Black blast shook Kyiv Friday as Russian forces continue to advance on Ukraine's capital. A senior U.S. defense official says the Russians have been slowed down by a resistant Ukrainian military bolstered by citizen volunteers. But new satellite images show a large deployment of Russian ground troops and helicopters in Belarus near Ukraine's borders.
To date, the Ukrainians have been fighting fiercely in many places throughout the country. My sense is they're overwhelming force that in a matter of days we could see the capital fall.
NATO says it's activating its response force, marking the first time it will be used for collective security. Thousands more U.S. and allied troops make their way to the eastern flank.
There is no doubt about NATO's readiness to protect and defend all allies.
There is also mounting pressure to cut off Russia from the international banking system known as SWIFT, with more Western leaders now signaling support.
We are looking closely at additional options that may apply appropriate pressure to the Russian Federation, to President Putin.
U.S. officials and members of Congress fear that if Putin succeeds in Ukraine, he could set his sights on other former Soviet countries.
No one knows for sure exactly where Mr. Putin's going to stop. And he's not telling us.
The United Nations Security Council met Friday to vote on a resolution condemning Russia's attack on Ukraine. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
The sports world has also started to take a stand against Russia after its invasion of Ukraine. The Union of European Football Associations pulled its Champions League title game from St. Petersburg. This morning, Formula One said it has concluded, quote, "It is impossible to hold the Russian Grand Prix in the current circumstances." There are growing fears the conflict in Ukraine will lead to another refugee crisis in Europe. The UN estimates more than 100,000 people have left their homes already, trying to find safety across Ukraine's borders. With lines of cars stretching for miles, many are choosing instead to leave on foot. Nearly 11,000 people have already crossed into Romania. Thousands more have gone to Poland and to Hungary in hopes of some type of stability.
I have a 5-year-old kid, and I have also my sister who has 2 kids, so we are really scared and don't know what will happen here.
For those driven from their homes, no one knows how long they'll be away or what they'll come back to. Many have to leave loved ones behind as Ukraine restricts border access for men ages 18 to 60 in case they are needed to fight. UN agencies say if the conflict drags on, as many as 5 million could leave. One couple is proving even in the middle of war, love perseveres. They shared wedding vows inside a monastery as air raid sirens blared outside their home in Kyiv under attack. The couple planned to get married in May on a terrace overlooking a river, but when Russia attacked early Thursday morning, their plans changed. With an uncertain future, the pair decided to hold on to what they know is certain, their love for each other. Another couple is making headlines. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are being recognized by the NAACP. They will receive the President's Award at the NAACP Image Awards, recognizing distinguished public service. Through their Archwell Foundation, the couple has supported multiple causes. They also teamed up with the NAACP for a new annual award. The Digital Civil Rights Award recognizes leaders at the intersection of social justice and technology in advancing human and civil rights. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Friday. A good end to the week on Wall Street. Despite what's going on overseas, the Dow closes up today, more than 834 points. Video from one North Carolina home up for sale is illustrating how hectic the housing market really is right now. The 3-bedroom, 3-bath home in question was listed for $260,000, and the realtor behind the recording says she knew from experience that in the current housing market, demand would be high. But Monica Edwards told CBS affiliate WNCN she could not imagine the turnout she captured on camera and says something has to change.
We're having a housing crisis, and this is a home that is priced under $300,000 here in the Raleigh area. And as you can see, there are just cars upon cars upon cars, and there are a ton of people that are trying to see this home. This is absolutely ridiculous. We have got to get control over these prices and the housing inventory.
The realtor representing the seller of the home says the house is now under contract within 2 days of being put on the market. We look at how more and more people are using mobile apps and at-home tests to monitor their own health next.
And thankfully, drier weather looks to be on the way as we finish out the work week around the mountains. The very latest on the weekend forecast as well on the way next.
Give the